Hey, today I wanted to discuss leadership. So, a CISO is a leader. It is an officer in the company, if you're doing it right. It is a senior executive, and is at the table with the big dogs. Since there's significant security risk on the back of the CISO, they should be entitled to the same amount of reward as every other executive at the table. In fact, the success and failure of the business is on the CISO's shoulders. So why treat them as an inferior executive? I don't know, but that's very common in a lot of companies. That CISOs are still working their way into building that reputation of being on the side of the business. So one of the things that a lot of people have asked me when they're kind of maturing into this idea of becoming a CISO or any other cyber executive or leader is, when will someone give me that leadership position? Or when will someone give me that chance to lead? And I always say they won't. No one's going to give you a leadership position or take a chance on you to lead. That would be ignorant of them as business leaders to do that. That would be wildly inappropriate. They'd have to be desperate to try giving you an opportunity to lead when you have no example of leadership that you're doing. So what I tell them to do is, if you want to be a leader, lead now. If you want to be a team leader, a project manager, if you want to be a division leader, business unit leader, C-level exec, whatever, you need to start leading where you are. If you're, in the mailroom, if you're dropping fries, whatever you're doing, you need to start leading from there. And so the response I get is, well, I'm not in a leadership position. I don't have any power where I am. So that shows me that you have not learned how to influence others. You haven't learned how to manage up. When you put an alpha or a leader in that kind of situation, they're going to lead. The guy at the dropping fries is going to lead the whole rest of the team, regardless of who the manager is, because they are establishing themselves as a leader. It's obvious who the leader is. I know that you probably have seen that in your own experience in places where someone just is obviously the leader, even though they're not in a leadership position. So when the company is looking for a leader for a leadership position, who are they looking at? They're looking at you. It doesn't matter if you've held one before, you're obviously a leader, so you're actually going to be more obvious of a choice than even somebody who's been at the company longer, has moved up through more ranks, and maybe above you. When I'm looking for a leader for a team, I'm looking at who acts like a leader. There may be people that have been at the company for 20 years that do not act like a leader, and they will not be chosen for a leadership position. I'm not going to force somebody to be a leader that is, quite frankly, not a leader. So when you are trying to grow in your career and you're thinking about how to establish yourself as an executive, or how to become an executive, or how to become a leader, start leading wherever you are. Start leading now. Once you have demonstrated that leadership ability, then you'll continue to get leadership opportunities. So one of the key things here is to learn to influence others. Lead regardless of where you are in the organization. And then establish yourself as a leader, and then it'll be obvious to put you in a leadership role later. And then lead first, and then you get a leadership position. A lot of people are waiting for that leadership position to start leading. They're like, when I become the boss, this is what I'll do. No, being the boss doesn't really come with anything except more responsibility. That's not saying that you're a leader. It a lot of times isn't even that you're making more money. Being the boss has nothing to do with leadership. A lot of times we kind of line them up together, but You can be a leader wherever you are. You can lead the team, and you can lead your boss. Learn about managing up. Learn about leading your leader. So you can use influence to lead the people around you. And it's very important, especially as you move up in your career, to be able to know how to manage up. I've been in a lot of, management and C-level positions, but I've never been the CEO. And I've always managed up. Like, I've led the company by managing up. So that is something that you need to learn to do. And then, don't be aggressive. Don't be a bad leader. By trying to exert power, that's different than influence. And don't use intimidation. That's different from influence. So if you are trying those techniques to try to be a leader, then you're actually going to rule yourself out pretty quickly too, and you're probably going to end up exiting the company. But in your case, that might be a good thing, because you probably don't deserve a role at the company if that's your idea of leadership. So there may be some hard knocks along the way. But it's easy. Once you've established yourself as a good leader, regardless of where you are in the business, the organization doesn't have to take a chance on you. You already have a track record. Even if it's just running the line at the restaurant, like whatever you're doing, you are demonstrating that you're already a leader. And so you aren't a gamble. It's easy to promote you and put you into a leadership position because you're showing that you are a leader. No one's going to invite you to that role. So it's something you have to invite yourself to. It's not a formal position of power or authority. It's about taking responsibility and taking charge. I really believe in extreme ownership and just being responsible for things, whether it's your responsibility or not. Leading, whether you're the boss or not. I expect everyone to be that kind of leader.